and Assalamualaikum. Thank you for being here, Nuri, Naida, Mia, and Marisa. So without further ado, let's just move forward to the Excel of Bagus, Sendirian, Berhad. First of all is a net profit before tax. As you can see, it is 31,600,000 ringgit, which I obtained from the net profit in the question here. Next is other income, which is a dividend, interest, and rental that we take strictly from the question here. Next also is the non-allowable expenses. As you can see, the refreshment and food is non-allowable. Hence, we put 225,000 here. So let's moving forward to Mia. Can you proceed with contribution?
Okay, so for contribution and depreciation, yes. Can you scroll down more? Okay. For contribution and depreciation. Okay, thank you. Okay, for contribution and depreciation, we put the figure in the plus column because it is non-allowable. But for contribution to a local public library, we can just deduct 20,000 ringgit only because as according to section 44, subsection A, it mentioned that the provision of library facilities which are accessible to the public, which in this case is the public library, the maximum deduction is 20,000 ringgit only. Hence, we just deduct maximum 20,000 ringgit only. Okay. So, next for the foreign exchange. Okay. For the foreign exchange, we only put the figure of gain on purchase of raw material because it is not allowable. For the insurance premiums, we put nil, same as the maintenance and utilities. Okay, next, Naida.
Okay, thank you, Azamia. Now I'll be continuing on the marketing part. Aisha, can you scroll down on the marketing part? Okay. Okay. First, we start off with the marketing, product testing, and promote level. They are allowable expenses. Henceforth, it will be put under minus column. While for director embezzlement and cashier stole, both are not allowable expenses, so it will be put under plus column. For pre-operating expenses, okay, for pre-operating expenses, we can actually refer to the textbook, page 501. It stated that perpetual business expenditure is allowed as a deduction. Thus, we will be putting the item in under minus column as we will deduct the amount. Next, for bad debt. Okay, for bad debt. Okay, at the given question, all of the bad debt is actually not allowable except for the specific provision. Okay, so since specific provision is allowable, that's why we record it under minus column. But in our calculation, we put it as a nil under plus column because it is not a double deduction. In which it can actually be referred again to the page book, to the textbook, page 502. And then also for rental income, it is also not allowable, but it is to be noted that, okay, rental income, yes, it is to be noted that we should add on with advance payment. Okay, it should add on with advance payment. Next, for repair and maintenance. Okay, for repair and maintenance is also another non-allowable expenses. Okay, we move forward to R&D. Are we on the R&D? Okay, yes. For R&D, we can actually refer to the textbook, page 301, whereby it stated that not all research and development is actually deductible. Therefore, for quality control and market research, they are not categorized into R&D. The amount will be put under minus column. And as for cash contribution, they are included in R&D department. So they are double deduction. Now I'll pass on to Aisha.
All right. So it's me again. For traveling expenses, as we know, marketing director and marketing manager both have different limitation based on the books. So hence we put here 2,000 after being deducted with 5,000 with the limitation. However, for marketing manager, we put fully 3,000 because it does not exceed 5,000. For the lift passage, in regards of lift passage in Malaysia, the first fare will be exempted, which is Tioman Island. Langkawi and Pulau Sipadan will be transacted accordingly. For leave passage outside Malaysia, Kyoto, the first fare will also be exempted, and Osaka will be transacted accordingly. For miscellaneous expenses, we will just need to look at the note number 18 and just put in the computation accordingly. All right, so after finishing with the calculation, we just need to add up the plus column and minus column, which will be amounting to 34,835,000. And for the minus column is 1,344,000 ringgit. With the minus column, we need to subtract it with the plus column here, making it amount of adjusted income, which is 33,491,000 ringgit. Okay, with the adjusted income, we need to add with the balancing charge coming from the calculation that we have counted for disposal on lorry, which makes up 69,000 ringgit. After that, we need to minus with capital allowance, making up the statutory income amounting to 33,440,000 ringgit. After that, we need to minus with unabsorbed adjusted loss, which will be taken from here, adjusted loss, this note 18 additional information. And then we will proceed with add other income, dividend, interest, and rental, which will be amounting to aggregate income 33,193,400 ringgit. And then with the aggregate income, we need to minus with approved donations to approved institution, which is 210,000 ringgit, which makes up the chargeable income of 32,983,400 ringgit. Okay, last but not least, following up with the tax payable, which we need to times with 24% on the chargeable income, which makes the amount of 7,916,016 ringgit. All right. So that's it for the calculations of computation tax payable by Bagus Sendiran Berhad, which is on question 1A. Now, I will also be in charge in explaining for the three tax implications under the Income Tax Act 1967 when a person plans to commence a business. All right, so the tax implication, there are three tax implications, which is firstly, basis period. By meaning of this, first account period will be the first basis period. A second tax implication is expenses, which makes up for the person commence a business eligible for tax deduction in revenue expenses incurred. And thirdly is current year loss. When a business generates no revenue, it will be carried forward to the subsequent year. All right, so that's all from me. Maybe Marisa can take in charge in the question 2 for tax planning. Thank you.
All right. So for question 2, A and B will be related to the subtopic of interest restriction on loan, where you can refer on our slide. So for both question in question 2, we will be using the formula of investment divided by borrowing and times with interest expense. So we look at question 2A first, where can you
Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay.
yeah, it's okay. Okay, so we take can you also open the question like side to
Sure.
side?
All right. Give me a minute.
It's okay, you can take your time.
Sure.
All right. Okay.
Okay, is it
So,
okay?
okay, sure. Okay, this one good. Good. Okay. Thank you, Aisha. So, for this one, we can see that Coco Boom Sendirian Berhad has invested, I mean that KSB has invested 176,000 in fixed deposit. So we take this amount to divide with the loan facility, which in another word is the borrowing, amounted to 286,000, and then we multiply with the in total interest expense, which is the 28,600. So from this amount, we will get 17,600, which will be added back to the company's tax computation. And for 11,000 will be deductible as a business expense. Okay. For question 2B, we use the same formula, which the investment amounted to 13.2 million. We divided with 35 million, and then we times with 4.5 million, and then we will get the amount of 1,1697 million will be added back in the adjusted income. And also dividend income, I mean the dividend received is now exempted under the single tier system. That's all. So now, Nurin, you may explain how we do it. Question C.
Um, Hi everyone. So we continue for question C. So basically for question one, the question asks the effects of disposal of non-current asset. And as for me, and I've done and for the answer for this question, the thumb rule is that if the company dispose non-current asset, there are two items that will rise, which is whether it is a balancing charge or balancing allowance. When the balancing sorry, when disposal value is high than the residual expenditure, then there will be balancing charge. Vice versa for balancing allowance, which is could arise when disposal value is lower than residual expenditure. Moving to the next sub question. Um, um, Machine A should be disposed on the following year instead of the year in order to put off the balancing charge or tax liability. And as you can see here, Aisha, okay, for this question, a machine A should be disposed on the following year instead of the year in order to put off the balancing charge or tax liability. As you can see here, the residual expenditure of this machine, which is 240,000, is less than its expected disposal value, which is 420,000.
Yes.
So the next one is for machine B, as it has a greater residual expenditure, which is the 960,000. Then it should be disposed the machine the end of the year instead of the following year to obtain balancing allowance, in order to recover back the adjusted income of the company. So moving to the next question, Aisha, go down to the next question. Okay, the langit bumi one.
All right.
Okay. Okay, this question asks to explain the tax implication in the case of buying machine if it is acquired under hire purchase or leasing method. So for the hire purchase, the company is treated as the incurring capital expenditure at the time of payment. So any deposit paid and the capital portion of the installment payment will be eligible for initial annual allowances. Meanwhile, for leasing method, as the company does not own the lease assets, it is not entitled to claim capital allowance, but the lease payment will be deductible as the business expense once the machine are put into use for the company business. That's all from me. I'll pass this on back to Aisha.
All right. Thank you very much to my group mate, Mia, Nuri, Naida, and Marisa for leading this discussion very well. So now I think that's it for our discussion. So for the report, we will only need to finalize. Anything, please just do WhatsApp on the group. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, everyone.